Good evening. It is just gone 7 o'clock on Thursday. My name's Phil. This is Leicester Fan TV. Now, this is your show as ever, and you've asked us to get some ex-Leicester City players on so you can get your questions to them. And tonight, we are joined by Iwan Roberts. Yes, he is a Welshman. He wears a Welshman's hat. Get your questions in to Iwan Roberts. This is tonight's Fanzone show. Yes, good evening. Hello to Taj Dixon, who's a huge Leicester City fan watching from the United States of America. Hope you're well. Hope everybody's well. Hope even the Forest fans are doing well. Sean is watching. Sean Sarson, how are you? Good evening to you. Jason Clare. Get your questions in, Jason. And Matty Bond, what would you like to ask the legend that is Iwan Roberts? Played for Leicester way back in the 90s, but is an absolute City legend. Here, joining us from the Fox's Arms to start with, to introduce him, is Jamie. How are you, Jamie?
Evening all. How the devil are we? Are we good? Are we all enjoying the lockdown?
Well, yeah, just getting used to it, I think, now, aren't we?
Oh, I'm well in it to now. 26 days for us over. I'm well into it.
Jamie,
bored,
listen.
But well into it.
Bored, but I tell you what, somebody who is bored is Iwan Roberts, because he's decided he'll come and talk to us. Introduce us to him. Tell us about him.
I think most people know Iwan Roberts. We bought him in November of '93 from Huddersfield for £300,000, which was quite a lot back then in them days. In '93, that's a lot of money for Leicester to spend. Brian Little bought him. In all, he was with us for 2.5 years. In all, he played 111 games and he scored 44 goals. Well, for a striker, a goal every 2 and a bit games ain't bad at all. I think that's a pretty good ratio. Most strikers nowadays will be quite happy. He played a pivotal role in the playoff final against Derby, where he used Stevie Walsh used him as a bit of a ramp to get a bit higher.
We'll ask him about that in a minute. Yes.
Unfortunately, he missed the Palace game with an injury. But one he's most famous for, he scored 2 hat-tricks for Leicester, and one of his most famous ones is his 12-minute hat-trick against Derby, and that is where the song came from of Iwan is a Welshman.
Do you know what? That is a famous song. Should we watch just a few bits? I've got a clip from it. It's not great quality, but
let's watch it.
Let's watch Iwan's famous hat-trick against the Derby. Here we go. It's VHS quality.
Iwan with his head.
Get in. There's the first goal.
I didn't realise we were 2-0 down.
Yeah, 2-0 down. What a goal. There's number 2.
Good equaliser. Oh, look at that tackle. You don't see many of them nowadays, do you?
Look at the pitch. Here we go. Boom.
I bet he's never hit a cleaner shot in his life, that third one.
We don't need to see Derby's equaliser.
No, we don't want to see Derby's equaliser.
Yeah, we'll get rid of that. Listen, we've been talking about him. Let's bring him in. Iwan Roberts, how are you?
How are you, boys? You okay?
Did you enjoy that bit of nostalgia?
I did. You never, as an ex-player, you never get tired of looking at old footage of your goals. Only scored 4 hat-tricks in my career. 2 in a Leicester shirt, and I scored a hat-trick in the Black Country Derby, West Brom v Wolves. But I have to say that I think it was a Tuesday night at Filbert Street under the lights, and they were always great nights. I used to love playing at night games. It brought the best out of me for some reason, and you know that is a game that will live with me forever. 2-0 down after 12 minutes, I think it was. And we
was it? I remember being there.
Yeah, Kitson scored the first, and Jimmy Willis scored an own goal. 2-0 down after about 12-13 minutes, and it was so important, as it always is when you're 2-0 down, that we had to get the next goal. And I managed to get my head on a great ball in from Maggers in front of the Kop. The second one was probably the best goal that I'd ever scored in my career. Don't know where it came from. I've never hit one so sweetly, I have to say. I think it was a game that was live on telly, and Jimmy Greaves was the second voice. And you know, we know that he's not very well in hospital, and hopefully he'll make a full recovery. And he said he'd never seen one hit sweeter than that second one. So, and that was high praise indeed from one of his calibre.
Yeah,
for us fans, Ewan, being a hat trick against Derby is one of the best. No matter, anybody else could have scored a hat trick against another club, but against Derby, that is just pure, absolutely, you're more like hero status. I've seen 2 for Leicester, you and Ian Marshall, both of you, and they're up there just because it was against Derby. They're just actually hero status because it's against Derby. Simple as, for me.
Derby games are special, aren't they? Because as a player, you know, you might not be from the city of the club that you're playing for, but you understand what those Derby games mean to supporters. And we knew how big a game those Derby games were. None bigger than the playoff final, obviously. So we knew that it was a game that we could ill afford to lose, because obviously we were fighting for the playoff position. We were fighting for promotion, and I think it was sort of that came in the latter stages of the season. So it was a game that we couldn't really drop points from.
absolutely. Ewan, I'm going to bring in another fan. It's Lee Chapman. Chappers, how are you, Chappers?
You might recognise him a bit.
Oh, don't start.
Chappers, Ewan Roberts, we know he's a legend because we still sing, Ewan. I don't know if you know, your song is still sung at the King Power Stadium.
Yeah, I can tell you now, Ewan. I sit in SK3 in the COP, right back row, and the lads, every home game, they're singing your song. Every home game, it's still sang. Every game.
I tell you what, that means so much to someone who, I mean, left in 95, 96, I think I left.
96.
I love going back. I've been back a few times with my work with the BBC. I get such a warm welcome. Honestly, I really, really do. I've done quite a bit of work for the club in the past sort of 12 months with the radio show and the programme that they have before the game. And I just love going back. It's such a friendly club. And I only had 2.5 years there. I don't have many regrets in my 20-year career. The main one is leaving Leicester when I did. You know, I left for one or two reasons. Went to Wolves, who were in a league below. We just won promotion again to the Premier League. And looking back, I probably cut my nose off to spite my face, really, because after I'd left, the club then went on to have a fantastic period in the Premier League, League Cup successes, top 10 finishes on a regular basis under Martin O'Neill. So not too many regrets in my career, but I have to say, looking back, leaving Leicester when I did is one major one.
Ewan, I've got a question here, fans. We've been asking fans to pop their questions in. Lee Shaw asks, what do you actually think of your Leicester song, Ewan?
It's a great song. It's the best one that I had sang about me. I normally get the you shout when I scored the goal.
That's boring one, that is.
It is. But I mean, whoever thought of this song? Because you hear it a lot these days with different players. But for someone to come up with that in a short space of time, because I think it was sang the next game that we played, and it's a great song. I've got to tell you, I haven't got a Welshman's heart.
You've answered that before.
But we did live on the same estate in Countersthorpe.
Did you?
So
yeah, because what?
There's a bit of truth there.
Yeah, what's the song goes along the lines of you live next in a council flat with Julie and Joachim, don't you, isn't it?
Yeah. And that in the 2 games against Derby that season, I scored 4 goals. I scored in the 3-2 defeat at the old baseball ground, which was another great game. I think we were 2-0 down. We came back to 2-2. I think they scored in the last 5 minutes, but I managed to get one there, which made it 4 goals against Derby in 2 games. So I quite enjoyed playing against those lot.
And we've got another
Oh, Phil's gone.
Phil's gone. Yeah, we've got
Here we
another
go.
question for you. Dan Shearer says that he met you before during the presentation in Hinckley, but he wants to know, what was your proudest moment for the club, for Leicester?
Debut was a special day. I scored on my debut against Wolves at Filbert Street. We were 2-0 down at half time. We got booed
Again.
off. Came back to draw the game 2-2, and I managed to get 2 goals. Missed an absolute sitter with 5 minutes to go, which would have been a hat-trick on my debut, which would have been a dream start. I've got to stay the game, even though I only played a bit part. I wasn't really fit, in all honesty. I'd broken ribs 6 weeks before. We played Oxford away at the Manor Ground, and Big Matty Elliott had caught me with a flying elbow, which broke 2 of my ribs. But I managed to get myself fit 3 or 4 days before the final. Spoke to Brian Little before the game and asked me if I was fit. He wanted to start Chelsea and pick Ian Ormondroyd up front, so it was going to be quite a physical battle, if you like, with the 3 of us playing up there. And I said, well, I can give you 50, 55, 60 minutes because I hadn't trained. Biggest of games, I had a little bit of I would say a hand, but it was probably more of an elbow in the first game, when I absolutely smashed their goalkeeper Martin Taylor for Walshy to get his head on.
Yeah.
To get his head
Doesn't matter now. That was 25 years ago. It doesn't matter.
But I've got to say that was a great day. You know, I'd never won anything in my career up to that point, and to get to the final, and I still maintain that's the best way to win promotion. And looking back, you know, the club had been to the previous 2 against Blackburn and Swindon and lost those 2, missed on the final hurdle. To finally do it, 3rd time of asking. To mean that we would be in the playoff. That was a magnificent day, and I have to say, you know, yeah, we won 2 playoff finals in the 2.5 years that I was there. The other one I wasn't involved in because once again I'd broken ribs, so I missed out. But that playoff derby, and because it was Derby as well, because it was Derby, they were the favourites. They were paying big money. They got this Premier League squad that thought that they deserved to be there. And they got beat by little old Leicester on the day. And, you know, big Stevie Walsh.
We've always been little old Leicester.
As a former teammate of Walshy, you couldn't wish for a better person to get those 2 goals because of what he'd been through that season with his crucial. And had Walshy not been injured, Leicester probably wouldn't have signed me. You know, I think he got injured at Middlesbrough away. I signed for the club. But it was a fitting end to a great season that Walshy scored both goals that won us promotion to the Premier League.
I've got to be fair, Ewan. I was just going to say about that playoff final, the one against Derby, the 94 one. I do remember that very vividly. I would probably put that, Ewan, if we had to have a debate between that. Oh, can't you? Can you hear me, guys?
I can hear you, Phil.
I can hear you, Phil.
Sorry, Ewan. Can you still not hear me?
You, Phil.
Jamie, you're going to have to ask him some questions if he can't hear me, okay? Or
Rightio.
Chappers.
Yeah.
Go on, Chappy. You ask away.
Well, I've been
Lee's gone now. Oh.
I've been Googling a couple of photos, Ewan, because I've got a little story about you myself. When I was a kid, my first Premier League sticker album, was the 94-95 season. And believe it or not, you were the only sticker. You were the only sticker I didn't get. And now I've just Googled that photo. Hi, mate. I've just Googled that photo, and it seems like although this photo of you with the Premier League sticker, you've got all your teeth. The next photo I've got, you've not got a tooth in the middle. What's going on? What was the story behind the missing tooth?
My teeth?
Yeah. What's the story about the missing tooth?
I've got 3 missing, to be honest, mate. I'd lost one when I was a young lad, when I was playing in the park with my mates. I was running after one of my best mates. He fell over and his heel caught one of my main 2 front teeth, chipped it, to cut a long story short, that I've got a nasty abscess in that. They took it out. So I've been without one of my front teeth for quite a few years. But then when I was at Watford, we were playing in a friendly in Exeter, and about 15, 20 minutes in, we had a free kick, and a lad who I'd played with for the Welsh under-18s team, a lad called Darren Rowbotham, who was a right winger. What the hell he was doing picking me up, I don't know. Anyway, he was picking me up, and as the ball came in, he's just caught me flush in the mouth with an elbow, and I knew straight away. That something wasn't quite right. Finished the game. I had a chat with our physio, Billy Hales, after the game. He called Exeter's club doctor into the dressing room. He had a look and he said, the dentist first thing in the morning, which I went, and the dentist there said, listen, I can save them, but it's going to mean like months and months of hard work and one thing or another. And I thought, right, I'm a big centre forward. One of my strengths is in the air. I'm going to get this again. And I was like, just take them out. So took them out, which was a painful process. So from about 19 onwards, I was missing 3 front teeth. But I think it was what I was known for, really, especially after scoring a goal with that big, cheesy, toothless grin.
Made you look like a hard centre forward, a bit like Joe Jordan used to look like.
Joe Jordan. What an icon he was with that magnificent smile that he had.
When a couple of weeks ago we had Julian Watts on. You had a bit of time playing with Julian Watts as well, didn't you, in the for Leicester? And he was saying the Sheffield United game when it all went pear-shaped for you, we lost 2-0 at home, and then you went on that huge run to get to the playoff final. Although you missed it, you got injured about 2 games later. But he said one of the most important games, the 2 most important games, one was against Palace and one was against Charlton. And Charlton was your last goal you scored for Leicester, which gave us the 3 points away from home.
Was that not Stevie Claridge?
No, he scored against Palace and you scored against Charlton. There was 2 1-0 wins. It's the other way round.
It's the other way round.
It's the other way round? Ah, right. But they were probably the 2 most important games. After that Sheffield United game, the Palace and the Charlton game, I mean, that must have, you travelling back from London after them 2 games with 6 out of 6, you must have been well happy with that. Yeah. We needed that after the Sheffield United game.
I think Emmy. I mean, Martin had a bad time when he first signed for the club, and there was a bit of unrest with the fans and what.
Just a little.
But those 2 games, you're right, in South East London or wherever they are, and I can remember. I think Emmy crossed the one for me to score at Palace in front of their home fans, and then I think Stevie Claridge got his first goal for the club at the Valley. And it was a magnificent goal. And I think then we got the belief with those 6 points from those 2 games in London that we had a chance of not finishing top 2, but most definitely finishing, because we had the squad to do it. You know, we had firm belief that we were good enough to finish in a playoff position. But my last game for the club was against West Brom at home, and I got stretchered off after about 5 seconds. Straight from kick off. It was the old big man stays out wide, and we try and find him from kick off. And I think Muzzy underhit the kick, and I've had to dive to get my head onto it. And they had a little midfielder called Stacey Colcott, who was about 4'10", and I've ran straight into him and broke another 2 ribs, punctured a lung straight to the Norwich, Leicester Royal Infirmary, and I didn't play again for the club, sadly.
Ewan, I've got a question for you as well. This one's from YouTube, I think. Here, what team do you actually support yourself?
I'm a Liverpool fan. For my sins, I'm a Liverpool.
We had Jamie Lawrence on Monday night, and he said he was a Liverpool fan.
I've got a good reason. My dad was a big Liverpool fan, so obviously you follow your hero. My dad was my hero. I'm from North Wales. I'm from a little village in North Wales, and you either supported the red or the blue side of Merseyside or Manchester United. I couldn't be a Man U supporter. I'd rather not support anybody than support Man U. So I followed in my dad's footsteps. And so I'm a Liverpool fan.
Chappers, can you ask Ewan, how should we sort the end of the season out then, being a Liverpool fan?
Yeah, okay. Phil saying, oh, did you hear what Phil said there, Ewan?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right. Oh, you're back, Phil.
I'm back. Ewan, yeah.
You're back.
What do we do?
I mean, first and foremost, there is more important things in life than football. I think we all agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, people have said, "Oh, you've got to null and void." I don't agree with that, to be fair, and I don't think people have gone, "Oh, we've got to null and void this one and then start afresh." Well, I don't think you can start afresh until you finish. There's too much at stake for a lot of clubs. You know, what do you do with the clubs that are chasing promotion from the, and it seems wrong talking about this with everything that's going on in this country, in Europe, in the world at the minute. But I do think this season has to finish.
Yeah.
Because, you know, and I'm putting the Liverpool hat on. They haven't won the league for 30 years. But, you know, at the start of the season, the target and the goal for Leicester was finishing in that top four. You know, that was a target that Brendan set the squad, and they've done that. 9 games to go, they're sitting comfortably in third position. However way the Premier League and the EFL finalise everything, I don't know. But I do think it's vitally important that this season is finished.
I think most fans would agree with that, Ewan. We talked the other day and said, even if it means next season, whenever that starts, is doesn't happen or whatever, let's finish this one off. That would be the fairest thing.
Just work around it, afterwards.
Somebody on Facebook has just said. Somebody on Facebook has said that's what his wife says. Once you've started, you've got to finish. I think they're having a bit of a laugh there, pulling one over us.
I think that was Terry, actually, from America. Terry Fuller, I think he was.
Brilliant.
Somebody, Will says, "Is Leicester your second team, Ewan?" He's going to put you on the spot there. Obviously, Ewan, you played for you had some great spells at Wolves and Norwich, a bit at Watford as well. You had a good career with some good teams, didn't you?
Started off at Watford as a young boy. Spent 5 years there. I never really broke into the first team. I think I only played just over 60 games. So it was one of those where I was 21. I needed to kickstart my career. So I sort of took a step back, if you like, to take 2 forward. So I joined Huddersfield, who are in what is now League One, just to play regular first team football, really, because I wasn't getting it at Watford. I was at Leicester I was at Huddersfield for 3.5 years. Scored. I had my best tally in the season. In my second season, I had 34 goals in about 52 games, which I was chuffed to bits with. But yeah, looking back, I enjoyed my time at Huddersfield, even though I had a tough time in my first 6 months. I was at Norwich for 7, and similar to Huddersfield, the first few months were horrendous because I wasn't scoring. I wasn't doing what they paid £850,000 for me, so I got quite a bit of stick. Wolves, I was only there for 12 months at the end of the day, even though I enjoyed my time there. But 2.5 years at Leicester, as short it was, I mean, the dressing room we had, lads, honestly, we had a proper good dressing room. We had a great set of lads. We used to socialise together. We had a bit of a Tuesday club, if you like, where there'd be a group of 15 to 20 of the lads, and we'd go out and we play hard, and we socialised hard, and that brought us together. And I think in those 2.5 years, that tight knit, good spirit, very similar to the spirit and the togetherness that when you the league in 2015.
That's the cracking one you've just put up there.
Ewan, I'm going to put you on the spot. Somebody's asked you, would you sing your own song, the Ewan Roberts song?
Yeah, let me just. Of course I will.
Come on, let's have it.
Come on, Ewan.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Ewan is a Welshman. He wears a Welshman's hat. He lives next door to Joe Tim, and he lives in a council flat. He scores him with his left foot. He scores him with his right. Oh,
And when he played at Derby, he scored a fucking lot.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
That is perfect.
You know,
Great question,
Ewan,
Luke.
when you used to play and used to hear that song, because us three here would never reach the heights of professional football. What did it actually feel like when the fans, whatever they were chanting, what did it feel like when they were chanting your name and singing your name? I've always wondered that. Does it give you that little bit of an oomph to play a little bit better when the fans?
It does. It massively helps. You know, I've been in both situations where you're not playing well, and fans are getting on your back, and you're getting a little bit of stick, and that never helps because you go into your shell. You tend to hide a little bit. You don't want to make mistakes. You don't really want the ball. You don't want to go in those areas where you might miss or you might score. But when the crowd are fully behind you, it makes you feel 10 foot tall. You know, you're not afraid to make mistakes. You're not afraid to miss chances. And that's why I'll always say, stick with your team, stick with your players, because it's massively important. And I can understand that supporters get frustrated at times and they vent their frustrations and their anger. I can understand all that because it's not cheap to go and watch football. It does cost a lot of money, but it doesn't help. It doesn't help. You know, you want especially your home fans, you want them right behind you every time.
Yeah.
Right. One more question.
Last
Chappie,
one.
I heard you go. Ooh, earlier.
Well, there
was a comment came.
There's a good
cracking comment from Andrew.
Yeah.
He says,
brilliant.
If you could take a player from the current Leicester squad and place him in the Leicester team, Leicester team that you played in, who would you pick and why?
Wow.
Well, back in those days, we used to play 4-4-2, didn't we?
Yeah. Old school, my favourite, that is. No one likes it no more.
Yeah, so there's only going to be one answer for me.
Jamie Vardy.
It's the fellow who looks like Chappie.
Chappie's look-alike.
Let's not go there, Mr.
Yeah, Chappie's look-alike.
Listen, Ewan, you look a bit like Frankie Boyle, but I'm not saying it.
I take that and not the proclaimers.
We could do a double act maybe. I used to get that one.
I could walk 500 miles.
Last question then. Anybody got one last question before we let Ewan go?
Brilliant.
Oh, hold on. There was one here from the fans. At least you ain't called him Ewan Thomas tonight, Phil. Anyway, that's one good thing.
I did say that the other night.
McGregor.
Yeah.
Did you ever play with Giggsy when you were playing for Wales? And what was he like as a player to play with?
Who's that?
Ryan Giggs. Did you play with him at Wales? And what was he like as an actual player?
He was a great lad. He was a great lad. Honestly, quiet, quite shy. I get asked who's the best player I played with, and to be fair, I've got two, and I can't split either of them, to be fair, because they were both absolutely world class, and they were both left wingers, John Barnes and Ryan Giggs. They were both as good as each other, but he's just a proper good lad, and I wouldn't say he's a friend. He's a former teammate. He's an acquaintance, and I'm delighted that he's got the success that he has with the Welsh squad, because he took over. A lot of Welsh fans didn't really want him as Welsh manager because they thought he never really committed himself to the national team because he missed so many friendlies, which he did. But I think there were other reasons for that. So I was delighted when we qualified for the European Championships. For obviously not this summer now, in the summer of 2021.
21.
I got on well with him. I do whenever I see him. We'll have a chat. He's a good lad. He's a good lad.
Brilliant. Thanks. Listen, we've got to let Ewan go. It's been absolutely amazing having you on, Ewan.
And make sure everyone follows Ewan on Twitter as well. What's your Twitter handle, Ewan?
Cheers, boys.
Is it at Ewan Roberts? I think it's just at
That's
Ewan
the
Roberts.
one.
Yeah, at Iwan Roberts.
At Iwan W. Roberts, yeah.
Right, I'm going to play you out, Ewan, before you go. You can hear the Leicester fans singing your song. Hopefully you can hear this. There you go. Scores them all. Thanks so much, Iwan Roberts, for joining us on tonight's live Leicester Fan
Cheers,
TV
Ewan,
show.
thank you.
I don't know if he's gone. Bless, see you, Ewan. Thank you.
I think he's gone.
We've lost him.
He'll
He's gone.
afterwards.
He's gone. Listen,
what a good
guys.
Chat that was. That's
brilliant.
another good chat.
That was absolutely fantastic. That was brilliant.
It's absolutely brilliant, isn't it?
Right,
Talking to your former legends.
Lads, we need to make a video, like sort of slice a few bits up from each one and then tag different players in. That's what we need to do next. Let's target Emil Eski or someone.
Will saying great chat. Gray Richardson saying thanks to Ewan. Somebody on Facebook is saying Ewan's hired, which is good.
It's fantastic.
Chris says well done. Enjoyed that. Ross wants to get Muzzy on the show. Go on.
I forgot to ask him one question. Who was the biggest drinker back in his day? I wonder whether he'd have answered me.
We'll have to get that. Joanna's asking who is next. Well, Jamie, who is next on Monday? Go on, Jamie.
On Monday, we've got a bit of music and football in both hands together on the same show. So we're sort of having a bit of I can't think of the word now, but we've got Sam Bailey, the X Factor winner of 2013,
and
the footballer, Phil. I'll let you introduce the footballer.
Well, I think we all know the footballer. He scored the last goal at Leicester City's King Power Stadium, Filbert Street.
Filbert Street.
Obviously, everybody knows him as well now from his Radio Leicester stuff. So it's Pipes. Matt Piper's joining us on Monday, as well as Sam Bailey.
Sam Bailey. Combined, music and football combined. That's the word I was looking for. It's just come to me.
What more could you want? And it could well be Tom may not be joining us because Tom is, his better half is expecting her second baby with Tom. So
good luck,
hope it's all going well for Tom from Leicester Fan TV.
Good luck, Mrs. Tom.
Yes.
More than Mr. Tom.
So, Chappers, if you're around, maybe you'll join us as well. And Jamie, I know you're going to be with us. So, listen.
I'll be here. As we keep saying, we've got nothing better to do.
Thanks, Jamie.
And the new tagline. New tagline.
Keep it safe out there in Spain. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to let you go. There he is. Jamie's off. Chappers, thanks for joining us as well.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Phil. This was brilliant tonight. Absolutely brilliant.
Really enjoyed that. And thank you, everybody who has been watching Leicester Fan TV. We do this for you guys. We do it for ourselves. We have fun. That's all it's about. As ever, this is the part where I have to say thanks to these guys, local businesses who help us buy all the tech and equipment to do more of this. Most of all, thanks to Iwan Roberts tonight for joining us. Don't forget, join us on Monday at 7:30 when we will be live with Jamie, Chappers, myself, Tom, if he's available, and Sam Bailey and Matt Piper. My name's Phil. This is Leicester Fan TV. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's the Fanzone Show. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. If you can go and like and share this video, that would be amazing. If you can retweet it or give it a little heart if you're on Twitter, Periscope, that would be brilliant. Go and follow Chappers. Go and follow the Fox's Arms. Go and follow Iwan Roberts. And keep everything Leicester. But most of all, stay indoors and keep safe. Thanks again, everybody.